Welcome to Radio Fixer's channel. Subscribe for upcoming videos. In this video, I will use different repair method because the Bakelite cabinet is very thin and cannot handle some of the techniques used in my other restoration. For more Bakelite repair methods, check out the other repair videos that I made regarding this subject on my channel. The approaches often depends on the thickness of the material. And to make your job easier to find all these videos per category, select playlist, and each categories are located right here. Also, I have added every tool product that I'm using in the description section of the video, so feel free to check it out. Somewhere in the bottom there's a subscription button. Go ahead and select that, and also there's a bell. Select that bell so it notify you whenever I upload new video. Put your thumb up. What this does, it notify other people they enjoy this hobby. I appreciate you. This 1939 Western Royal radio was manufactured by Belmont for several different brand labels. Let's get started. Enjoy the video. This is another radio that I want for a long time. Always liked the design. It's a beautiful Bakelite. These are usually older Bakelite. The way they mold them, very beautiful. Unfortunately, U.S. Post Office, when they deliver it, was all damaged, all broken. See, all here broken. Look at this side. Big piece is just totally destroyed. Totally destroyed in shipping process. United Postal Service office. They don't care, I guess. Even the box says fragile, they drop it. They don't care. Look, all is destroyed. All cracked. No, this is going to be another radio that I have to fix. I'm pretty frustrated with them because, this could be beautiful Bakelite radio, but now I have to paint it because it's just totally destroyed in shipping. Let me show you the back. This is the back. Even they offered insurance, but up to now they have not paid for a penny for anything that is broken. You have to go through the 100 different loop. They just give you such a hard time. You have to contact the seller. Seller need to send information. It's a big mess. And I haven't received a penny from them. For all these radios that they're broken in shipping process, they don't pay a penny for it. They say, yeah, it has insurance, but they do not cover it. Yeah, it takes you months of communication with them. I went through this several times. So you have a choice, send this back to the seller and you get more damage in shipping process, or try to hold on to it and fix it. It's just a disaster, as you see. I'm pretty frustrated, to be honest with you. Even the back has a humongous crack. You see right here has a big crack here underneath. But see how beautiful this Bakelite was? Oh man, such idiots. Alright, let me see if I can fix this cabinet. Then focus on the chassis. The chassis is looking good. It seems like everything is there, no missing parts. I do have the back cover. Of course, the back cover also is a big mess. Since the case broke, the back cover also got messed up. I guess another major project. Very frustrating. Now, the only thing it left here in the front, that's what it says, I have no clue what this radio is, what brand it is. I like the design of it. That's why I bought it. I like the design of this radio, but I have no clue what brand it is. That's the only thing it says about it. All the other labels got lost. What I did, I went to Antique Radio Forums. I put some information there regarding this radio, and people start getting back with me right away. And they identified this radio for me. Thank you, guys. You are the best. I really appreciate it. So let's take this apart. Let's take the chassis out. So I'm going to take all the knobs out and put it in the plastic bag, and always do that. Put it in some type of plastic bag and mark them what it is. Believe me, if you don't, if you work in several radios at the same time, it's hard to remember what part goes where. Okay, pretty interesting design. Wow, very strong too. Good designing in this. So this is out. Now here, this is the radio knob. I guess you just pull it out. Yeah, like that. So the knob is fine. At least the knob is fine. Let's be positive. The knob looks great, right? Majority of radios, I have to make knobs for them, as you know. That's why I'm laughing. It's like, gee. And this is the keypad, it's easy, you can move it around. I don't have a big space. My work area is this much, that's all. Alright, so let's take this out. Oh, you know what? 2 of the screws are missing too. Watch it underneath. It has just 1 screw. 2 of them is missing. And that's very nice. Maybe that's why it broken. Alright, let's take this one out. Alright. I guess now I can pull it out. Let's set this up. Let's see inside if there is anything inside. I think that's it. Let's pull it out without damaging anything else. I'm going to hold on to the speaker and lift this thing up. Okay, to pull this out, you have to push all this down, then pull it out. Alright, this is out. Very dusty, as you can tell. Very disgusting mess. I'm going to take this out and I'm going to clean everything with a paintbrush, maybe use a blower, blow these things out, paintbrush, clean this. I don't want to breathe on this dust. I don't want to clean it inside the house because it's too much dusty. Let's check the inside. The cabinet is pretty light since it doesn't have a transformer. Let me put this here. Let's check inside to see how great the inside is. Alright. Hey, it has 1 of these. Usually these are missing. That's good. I have at least 2 of them here. 1 was in the back cover. Need to take this out. They glue this to the chassis. That's interesting. Grail cloth. They actually glue that to the chassis. What they were thinking. I didn't want to damage that. Let's see. Yeah, they glued it. I guess if I soak in the water, it's going to come out. Trying to somehow save this grail cloth since it's original, but I might not be able to. Right now I have more issue, right, with the cabinet I'm in. Man, this is cracked like all the way down. See that? The more I look at it, the more frustrated I become. Man. I took this radio outside to clean it. I put it on a table. It was pretty windy and the radio fell off the table and it broke off to pieces, as you see. Not that happy about it, be honest with you. I really like this radio, so somehow I need to fix this cabinet. When you work on radios, this type of thing happen. It's weather condition, because I'm working outside. I don't have any workshop, and it was windy. I was trying to clean this, and because it's pretty light material, this is very thin. Bakelite is very thin, as you can see. So it fell off the table, and I tried to catch it, but I couldn't. You know, it hit the concrete and all broke off. I need to think how to put this thing back together, because I really like this radio. I don't want to get rid of it. You see, it's broke off everywhere. I think the reason it broke off just was a few feet. You know, the table is not that high. Yes, because it's already had crack, and that's why it got damaged pretty bad. So let me think what I need to do about this to put it back together. So there's all these pieces that I found on the ground. I need to think the best way to do this, because it is, again, it's pretty thin Bakelite. I never saw Bakelite this thin. Usually they are much thicker, so you can actually glue them back together, you know, put epoxy. This one, epoxy, will not gonna hold. It looks like black, but really it's brown. You see, it's brown. Man. Alright, let's start working on this thing. Things happen is out of your control. The most important thing is focus what you need to do next to fix it, right? I don't want to glue it yet. First I want to see what part is missing and how this goes together. You don't want to glue it right away. Again, since this is pretty thin Bakelite, you know, I cannot shave it, put any type of epoxy. I have to fiberglass this from inside. I'm using this clear tape, trying to tape it together first to see which parts, you know, goes where. I think that's the best way to do it. I don't want to glue it or anything yet until find out all the pieces where they go together. If you glue it, it's not going to line up. So don't glue it first. First you have to line everything up. Like, see what I'm doing? See, I don't want any gap here, so I need to make sure this is hooked up correctly, because there is so many pieces. That is shame. There is a gap here. It's a little better now. When I run my finger here, it's nice and smooth. So the closest you get this together, if you take your time and make sure everything line up, it's going to be easier to fix them. If there's a gap, then it's going to be much harder. Okay, then we'll put this tape right here. Okay, I put this piece together, as you see, with a few tapes. This one together. I need to secure it here too. See, there's a gap here. I need to fix this. Very, very light material. I want something like it hold pretty good. That's why I'm using this tape. Okay, and I run my finger. I feel the crack, but there is no gap. It's smooth, but I feel the crack. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say, you know. It's level, but I feel the crack. You don't want to be on level. You want to be level, right? Okay, this is fine. Maybe one tape here. The reason I'm using this, because then it's much easier to run your finger to see where it needs more attention. All right. See here, it starts moving. See that? I need to do some tape from inside. I could not believe when it fell off the table. I was so upset about it. Then of course I washed it piece by piece with soap and water. This big piece is much easier to put together than the small one. Look, there's a part number there, you see that? I think it's 128333. Something's going on with this radio, you know. Some type of ghost, you know, does not want me to fix this. This goes from inside. See, that's why you don't want to glue a thing first. That's why I put tape. If it doesn't fit here, then I have to take this piece out, put this one first, then put that second. Because you see, it doesn't fit in like this. I don't want to force it to break more. Let me figure these things out and get back with you. This video is pretty interesting. What manufacturer did they already install all this, pad for it? Of course, through the years, they went pretty bad, as you see. They didn't screw them in. What they did, they actually, if you look at here, they actually stamped them. Now, if this one is loose, you see how it turns around? Since I don't want to damage the Bakelite anymore, so I need to maybe remove it from here. I think this is the easiest way to remove this. Put a screwdriver right here, pretty gently. Since this is a rubber, it's start coming apart. Let's see, like that. Alright. Again, drilling, it might help, but sometimes that's gonna cause more issues. So I'm gonna use this. Let's see if this is gonna work. If I go underneath here. Alright, I take it out. It's a steel. It's not aluminum. That's why it was so hard to take it out. If it was aluminum, it'd pop up quickly. But it's steel. That's why I didn't want to drill them, because what the drill sometimes it does, it turns around and it makes the hole much bigger. And it might also crack the Bakelite. So I don't want to crack the Bakelite. So this one came out. I'm going to use the same technique to remove the others. As you see, I taped everything, all the pieces now together, right? You make it as tight as possible, but do not glue it at this time, all right? Especially crazy glue, that's not a good idea. It's pretty windy today. Last time when I was sitting here in this table, the wind was so high and this fall over the driveway, concrete, and broke. This time I'm doing it over the grass. As you see, it's a grass area. So if it drop, it doesn't get more damage. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to inside all this shiny area, I'm going to lightly sand it, just lightly, not too much, because you're dealing with Bakelite. Bakelite, my understanding, they used to add 5% asbestos inside, not on the surface. Inside the material is like an M&M. This is the way I can explain it to you. The surface, is like M&M, has, that shiny deal. Start shaving a lot, you're going to get inside. Assume that's where the asbestos are, so be very careful. Very, very, very good mask. This is the 3M mask. That's what you need to wear. Do it outside, away from the house, so if any dust created, it doesn't get inside the house. You do not want to breathe the dust, okay? So that's all I'm going to do. I have a couple of different sandpaper. I have a 100 and I'll also have this 180. As you saw, I used this type of sandpaper before. I'm going to start with 100 to see how it's doing. And if it's too rough, I'm going to use this one. So let me wear my mask and start working on this. Again, the goal is to sand inside the area that I have to somehow repair. Since this Bakelite is so thin, I cannot use the other method. You remember how I used to use my Dremeler and to shave some of the material out? This is so thin, I cannot do that. All right, so I have to use different method to fix this radio. Let me get it started. You see, after I sanded pretty well, I washed it. Look how beautiful this Bakelite was. That's why I purchased it, because it was one of very unique Bakelites. Look how beautiful this Bakelite was. That's so shame, So anyway, you wash it very well to get rid of all those dust. Do not bring this rust inside the house without washing it very well. And the good thing about this tape is, since it's a 3M, you're washing it, the tape does not come out, stay on here. All right, hopefully that makes sense. You see the difference between outside and inside? because if this was not broken, I could polish it and you could see it like that, you know, but unfortunately it broke in shipping and also here when I was working on it. Next, I'm going to remove majority of these tapes since, you know, the sand powder was underneath. Also, before gluing them piece by piece, I'm documenting every piece where actually they go, so I can start putting them back one by one. See, I didn't take this tape out to see how there's some dust underneath this tape. There's dust here as well, and that's why I'm removing it. After I remove it, I'm going to take it apart piece by piece, wash it again with soap and water, then dry them, then I start working, somehow glue them back together first, piece by piece. See that? These are how many pieces there are here. The reason I'm not going to put fiberglass inside yet, because if you put fiberglass, these are not lined up, then you need a lot of sanding, and that is not going to be fun at all. All right? Of course, big pieces are fine, you know, I know where that go. That's of course obvious where it goes, but in the corners, the one that, you know, I need to make sure putting them back together, because I have to again somehow glue them back here one by one. Then after that, I have to fiberglass inside. After make sure everything lined up, there's not that much gap between them. You do not want to do any fiberglass until you make sure there's not that much gap. I see I found some crack here. See that? Here. See that? This got damaged pretty bad. So anyway, again, I'm documenting this for myself as well. All right. This is like a puzzle. You shouldn't use the big piece yet until you find out every small piece where they've been, you know, installed. Let's talk about what glue should be used for the repair. You do not want to use this. Do not use this type of glue, this crazy glue, because they dry so fast. It doesn't give you enough time to do what you need to do. So do not use this. This is a good product to use. Since it takes some time to dry, it gives you time to be able to adjust all those broken parts and to make sure that they lay pretty well. So part A and B, I suggest to add just a small portion at a time. Then the good thing about this is, again, you know, you can clean the extra of the cabinet. And of course, I suggest, like what we did earlier, to add some tapes to hold the radio together until this dry. All right? Hopefully this will help you in your project as well. As I discussed, you know, since this radio is very thin Bakelite, you cannot grind it like I did in the other, you know, Bakelite video that I made, since this is very, very thin. So I have to use a different method to fix this, as I mentioned earlier. So everything is glued out together here in the bottom. As you remember, it was a big crack. So what I did, I just pull it apart like this, then use the glue, went all the way, so you open a little gap between it, keep moving it back and forth. After, you know, the glue get everywhere, then hold it like this until it dry. You see the glue here came out as well. So that means the glue went through the crack and it hold it together. So again, I could not grind this to fill it up with epoxy, since this is very thin Bakelite. So I did that with all the crack, like up there as well. Some area, as you saw in the video, that I could not do that. I had to glue it piece by piece together. Of course, by doing that, usually it doesn't level pretty well. As I mentioned, when Bakelite drop and it break, it put a stress on the Bakelite, and usually is, it's shifted, the body. So gluing it back together sometimes is pretty difficult. You will gonna have some type of gap that we're gonna, deal with that later. Okay. As you saw, when I glue piece by piece together, I put tape over it. First, to hold the part. Second, I can run my finger to see if there is any gap. Definitely here is a gap. You remember this was the last piece that I installed. So it's like a puzzle. When something breaks that bad, you have to take your time, step by step. Make sure that everything is put back together. Of course, I have to do more work with this. Those glues are good, but not gonna hold this together for a long time. So I'm gonna start removing some of these tapes. The area that there is a gap, I'm gonna keep some type of tape on it, because when I start working with fiberglass inside, I don't want to get in the surface of the radio. Alright, hopefully that makes sense. If you have any question, feel free to put it in a comment. Again, depends of the thickness of Bakelite. You have to use different technique to fix it. One technique does not going to work for all of them. Okay, so let me work on this. Okay, what I did, I removed all the tape. Now I have to take it out and start working inside. Alright, I sanded, use 100 grit sandpaper, 3M, sand everything. As you see, these are all the cracks, and some portion of course are missing. So everything, as you see, is sanded, all the crack. And also I sand inside. Of course, you can make sure to wear your professional mask when you're doing that. So everything is sanded, as you see. Then I washed it with soap and water very well. Then you're gonna let it dry in the sun. You wanna let it totally dry. So what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna start taping all this. The reason I'm taping, when I put fiberglass inside, I don't want it comes out from this side. Then I need to do more sanding. I really don't want to do a lot of sanding. But again, I did very lightly sand. Don't overdo it, just a little sand. Again, what I heard about Bakelite, you like your M&M. It has this level, then inside is different materials, so you don't want to get rid of this to get to the bottom portion of it. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, I already got the fiberglass cloth. I'm going to cut it to the size. This is the product I'm going to use. This is a fiberglass, again 3M product. That is the hardener. Of course, that is the resin. I'm going to mix it here. This is the brush I'm going to use because after I finish, I can't get rid of it. I already cut the fiberglass to the size. Let's see, I cut it right there. So that's how I'm going to install it inside. As you see, the fiberglass is completed. Even back there, as you remember, was a crack here. So I put a piece there. I'm going to clean this up. It's already dry totally. It just need to be taken care of. So as you see, the fiberglass, all the top section, all the way around, all the way here to here. The only place it doesn't have fiberglass is this section only. Usually when you finish with the fiberglass, you see there are some extra left. Of course, those can be all sanded. Like back here, you see that? And wherever the hole was, the fiberglass, of course, the resin came out. Not a big deal, that can be cleaned. All right, the holes are still there, which is a good thing. I need to do some more work inside. I'll be honest with you, I really don't like to do fiberglass. But again, I had to do this because it was such a thin Bakelite and I couldn't use other method. Fiberglassing is fine, but it's messy, as you can see. It's just messy. Then you have to go in there and clean it up. Usually I like to do that, with all my radios. I don't like to keep inside like this. Some people, they might say, Jay, you're never going to see inside, or nobody going to see inside. But I see it. I know it's there. The issue is I will see this. I will know that it's not being fixed if I just let it be like this. And you notice with my other work, I always want to do the best as possible on these radios. So let's see what I can do with the fiberglass. Somehow I need to fix this, as I mentioned earlier. Now, I removed all the tapes that I put here because some resin filled up already those gaps, those cracks. The only place it left is right here. These are resin that it came out of this hole. It's not a big deal, it can be cleaned. So I'm going to remove the last piece of tape. The reason I didn't remove this earlier because, I had to fiberglass the last piece. This is already filled some area, the resin. So I don't need to use that much bondo. This is how I look like currently. Still, as you see, there's a gap between the parts. You see the resin filled up majority of this because I put those tapes over it. So after I clean up inside, I'm not going to put bondo over this Bakelite because if I add bondo and I start sanding, more of the Bakelite come off. I don't want to do that. So first I'm going to prime the entire radio inside and out. Then I'm going to put some bondo over primer. And that's the best way to handle it. Again, because I don't want to sand more Bakelite. I did very light sanding, as you can tell. I didn't take that much out. But this is how I look like currently. Alright? And all this needs to be cleaned up as well. Let me take it out and start cleaning this up. I will get back with you. Alright, let's prime this radio with this sandable primer. Alright, I sprayed this with the red primer. As you can see, of course, after you spray it, you will see all imperfection area. And that's what's the goal. You want to know where the issues are. So you see all here. Be able to use bondo, and to use this bondo, you have a good success with this. Make sure to read the detail in the back, how to mix this and how to use it. Of course, you want to do this outside the house, not inside the house. And read the label in the back. So you have to wear mask, protective mask. All right, just follow the direction, then you're going to be safe. Let me focus on this. Let me show you what product I'm using. For the big area, you're going to use this one. It's all-purpose bondo, putty. And for the crack, do not use this. For the small crack, use this one. All right, this is for putty. For a small area for the crack. Of course, for both of them, you need a hardener to do this. And then I have, you see, different size of this. Depends, what size of the area that I'm working on. So you need that as well. But definitely, these products are very good. You see, I put another layer right there. This is what I use, again, because it's a big area. I think this time I got it. I just need to sand it, and usually I do wet sanding. You can do that. Wet sand this bondo or dry sand was your option. But the trick is, don't put too thick. Believe me, if you put too thick, you're going to sand all day long. You want to build it gradually, a small layer at a time, very thin layer. Sand it down, do it again and again. If you put thick, you're going to regret. So let's try that way. Again, it takes time, but the result's going to be incredible when doing it this way. All right? If you have any question, put it in a comment. All right, as you see, I sand all the bondos. Again, it's pretty tough, as working inside the radio like that. All those had to be sanded, and it takes hours and hours. So that's why you want to put a thin layer, sand it, Then another thing, sand it. If you put too much, I'm telling you, it takes you forever to sand them, especially inside. You see all this area is being bondoed, is ready to be primed. All right. All right, I still am working inside. I do not like to fiberglass it from inside. It needs a lot of sanding because the fiberglass doesn't lay correctly, so you have to keep sanding it. Use those bondo that I shared with you, and prime it, sand it. This is the third time that I'm working on this. So as you see, I changed the color of the primer. All right, as you see, I sanded. This is the curve. The curve is usually pretty hard to do that. See, we're able to get that side, but here there's a little depth, so I need to add a little more bondo. Then I need to get it as smooth as there. Again, the issue is a curve. You see, that curve is pretty close. It's getting much better. Then I'm gonna fill this up. This is at least third or fourth time I'm working in this area. And I'm gonna get it right. So then we're gonna focus something else. You see, still there's a crack here. Of course, a bondo from inside. I need to take care of those as well right here. So it will take time, folks, to do this type of work. Take your time, man. You're not in a rush. This radio is sitting around for many years, 50, 60 years sometime. A few more days, a few more weeks, it's not a big deal. This is, again, is a hobby. This is, you're not gonna do this to make money, right? Because it's a lot of work, but they give you a lot of joy. It's just give you a lot of joy to be able to bring them back to life again. Majority of people, they're gonna throw this out because, the case was totally destroyed. But hey, let's see if this is savable. That is always my thing is, can I save this radio? Can I actually save it? To be able to bring it back to its glory years. Is it durable? Of course it is. Anything can be fixed. There's still these two cracks here. Hopefully with the primer I can fill them up. But it's coming along. You see, the side is almost done. It still needs some sanding. I'm gonna wet sand. I have a water here with soap in it, as you can tell, and I have some sandpaper, paper towel. So I'm gonna sand this again. I have to use this process over and over again until I get it right. See, there's some type of a steel crack here, so needs a lot of work, as you can tell. You see, here is a little gap again. Always I suggest to work inside first before working outside. You might say, why? Trust me. It's because when you lay it down like this, then you might scratch it. So work inside. Still, as you can tell, I need to work inside. But it's looks much better. I forgot to video the last two times that I sanded and used that bondo and prime it. This is again the third time. But it's coming along. To do a good job, it really takes time. If you want your radio turned to as close as original, it will take time. But you have all the time, right? This radio is sitting forever, so said a few more days, it doesn't hurt anything. All right, let me get it started. Let's sand everything. All right, finally this inside finish. Man, this took a long time to do this. That's the best I can do. Inside the curves is so hard to sand and make it as smooth as possible, but I am happy with the result inside. It just looks fantastic. So it's looking good. Everything is done outside. Now what I need to do is start focusing outside. As I mentioned, you always want to work inside before you work outside. It's ready to be sanded lightly, a wet sand and a spray here. It's coming along, folks. It's coming along. It's looking good. You cannot see any more crack. You cannot see any more dent. You cannot see any missing thing. You know, it just looks fantastic. All right, so let me focus on that. Let me spray outside. All right, I sprayed this morning and let it sit here in the sun. Believe it or not, today in Florida about 90 degrees. It's just March 11 and being that hot, it laid very nice. It doesn't need any sanding or anything like that, or any polishing. So I'm going to let it sit like this for a couple of days to make sure it's totally dry before doing anything with it. And I suggest to do that. Whenever you paint something, the radio or anything else, let it dry. Let it dry for several days. It came out very, very nice. I'll be honest with you, it takes so much time to make these videos, editing, uploading, and make sure there's enough information that it actually makes sense, you know, if you want to follow. At this time, I want to take the opportunity and thank my subscribers with their uplifting comments. You always encourage me to upload more videos, since this is just a hobby of mine. Again, I appreciate you. Enjoy all these videos, and you all have an awesome day. Take care. If you're interested to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and you will be notified when new video being uploaded. You have a great day.